Welcome to the Amazing Authorities Podcast, where game changers, visionaries, and category leaders share how they built their brands, platforms, and global influence. Your host is Mitch Carson, international speaker, media strategist, and creator of the Instant Authority System. If you're ready to learn from those who've done it and want to become the go-to expert in your space, you're in the right place.
Michael Callan is in the house today. Now, he's been a guest before on my show on NBC. Today, we're talking about something that pains business owners, and he's devised the solution. I'm going to call him Mr. Solution from Down Under. Michael, welcome to the show. Mr. Solution.
From Down Under.
Yeah.
What a great tagline.
Well, it just came to me right now. On occasion, I'm able to come up with these, and that came out of thin air. But that's what you're providing. And the topic is Go High Level, which in itself is an amazing program, yet people are troubled by it. Tell us why you decided, and a smart decision, you decided to attack this niche and help people.
Hey, Mitch, thank you for having me on the show. I love coming on here. You make me laugh. I always feel lighter after we finish talking. Yeah, Go High Level. The journey about Go High Level is one that I think everybody gets. It's flashy. It looks good. It's got a lot of flexibility. I've seen various versions of it where people have done some fantastic things with this really good piece of software. But the problem that really gets to you is trying to figure out how to make this puppy work. And not just work, but work for you effectively. Yeah? So there's plenty of customer relationship management software systems that go, I can give you a list of your contacts. I can send out emails to your contacts. I can send SMSs out to contacts. I can give you funnels. I can give you websites. But the thing is, they don't integrate it as well as Go High Level does. And on top of that, what a great system, because we use it in one of my businesses. We use that system to actually provide resources internationally to people. So it's got a great deal of flexibility, but it's just so painful to come together. So for me, when I saw that, and the conversations I've had with a lot of clients has been, look, mate, I'd love to have this piece of software, but it's too hard to work. And it's too hard to set up. And it's too hard to understand.
Oh gosh, and I'm in that pain as we speak. Here's what happened. I got to share this story. I have an assistant that's been with me a year and 9 months in Manila, in Luzon, which is outside of a province outside of Manila. She left me on September 2nd. Today is late September. And with no notice, no nothing, claimed that she had flooding and had to get back to me and sorry, and all the typical excuses. I've heard them all. I've been in the Philippines 15 years with employees.
Yeah.
And they've all got, it's like you can pull them off the shelf, the excuses. And some of them are religious, some of them are this or that. But they've all got the same excuses, and it's just a matter of which day. So she used that one, true or not, don't know. But she disappeared. Now I'm left hanging. And I'm not a technical person, Michael. I'm up Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
I'm up Schitt's Creek because I got this Go High Level that I'm paying for every month. I've got my email list in there, valuable email list from Facebook ads that I paid for. These are people that resonated with my message, whatever event I was selling. Many of them are for my author summit, and some are for my speaking programs that I have, and now I'm left. And I'm screaming. It's like, oh my God. And I reached out to our mutual friend, David Kavanaugh. And I said, David, I'm blank, right now with an F. And I said, what do I do? I said, I'm not technical. I never want to be technical. You're the one that recommended this program to me, a couple years back. I'm using it. What do I do? And then we're having this conversation, and it's like, dude, I'm your first customer. I need replacement like lickety split. So are you Mr. Solution or not?
Well, I am.
I'm putting the pressure to you, bud.
Put the pressure to me. Yeah, we are the solution. So one of the things when I started my journey, at the same time I brought on a virtual assistant who's now my business partner of all things. And this has been a great journey for both of us. So we sat down, took us about a month, but we sat down and we went through step by step and wrote down what we did to get that bit working. So we've got a massive knowledge base about how these things work. So I then took it back to, okay, we can do this in little dribs or drabs, or we can have a process. And we onboard you. So when you come along and you go, this is my business, we take you through a checklist, a step-by-step approach where we just start setting it up for you line by line. But not only that, we sit down with you and we show you what we did and we show you how to use it. So we've got clients, we've got some big end clients. We have several virtual assistants doing the back end for this business. They just tell us what we want, what they want, and we just deliver. That's a pretty easy solution. That's most of the solutions that the big end people would be doing with Go High Level. But people like yourself who either don't have a VA or can't get a VA or had a VA that ghosted them, I'm pretty sorry about that.
That's exactly what happened. I'm ghosted.
Yeah. So how do you do next is we train you. We train you to use the system itself. And at the same time, we provide someone in the background that can, when you go, I can't, how the hell do you do this? We either do it for you, at a cost, or we give you the advice and the checklist to go through to get through it. So for example, horror show, trying to get a mobile telephone number connected to Go High Level in Australia. If you don't get that right, you'll be there for weeks.
Wow. And you pull your hair out.
Yeah, you pull your hair out. An hour, it takes an hour. Now, we got a checklist for that. Everything that says, whatever you do, just follow the bouncing ball. It's a great way of doing the business. Now, the other thing we did for smaller businesses, we said, so what type of business are you? Well, I'm a bicycle repair guy. Oh, okay. Well, we've got the bicycle repair guy Go High Level ready to go. So we've made these snapshot templates, whatever you want to call them, that you ask us, we set it up like that. Just roll it up, open it up, roll it out, put your branding on it, and away you go. You're ready to rock and roll. That's the difference. But the big difference between us and other businesses, we're there. Even if you're not paying us for the VA, you're paying for the most basic of one of our services. We're there to help you.
Well, Michael, I got to ask a question for clarity, and this is also a potential boost to your credibility and why people should listen to you. And I think it's an important one. You might disagree, but I think it's an important one. What qualifies you as an individual to talk about processes and step by step? What's an integral part of Michael Callan's background where people would say, oh, shit, he does know his stuff because he was trained in X, Y, and Z? And I'll let you fill in the X, Y, Z.
Well, thank you very much for that, Mitch. Thank you. Look, so I'm a trained investigator. An investigation's a process. You start at the beginning of the process, you step by step, methodically work your way to the end state. And I'm a successful investigator. There's very few cases that I have not come to a conclusion with, whether they're guilty or not guilty. I'm also a trainer. Now, we train in doing criminal investigations. We train in a range of open source intelligence, corruption investigations. We've worked for international colleges. We've worked for the Australian Federal Police. We've trained their people in forensics of all things. But we know how to set up the process so they can follow it easily to get to the end state. We hold the world's only digital forensics software that actually takes you through an investigation process called Forensics Pro. We built that ourselves. We devised that process. It's one of a kind. So we've got an experience in looking at something and a situation and turning it into a process that allows you a really methodical way of doing it and an easy way of doing it. Not a hard way, not 18 different branches, but really simple step by step for you. So that's where we get that experience, where my team gets that experience from, because it's not just me. There's like about a dozen more people out there who work for me, who work on this process development part of it, the whole system.
So let me sum this up. You analyze, you diagnose, and you prescribe. So that's the doctors diagnose and prescribe, but you run an analysis thoroughly on the business itself because of your forensics background, and you have a little bit of a military background too. That was where I was hinting. And then
they're not so process driven, mate. If you've ever been in the Australian Army, it's she'll be right.
So we'll stay focused on the forensics aspect of Michael Callan's background. and you've embraced the right partner over in the Philippines who speak good English, cute little accent, but they speak good English and they have very good analytical skills and details. Once you lay out the foundation for Filipinos, and I'm generalizing and I'm saying this in a positive, judgmental way, once you lay out the foundation for Filipinos, they tend to follow the roadmap very well. And they love to share with enthusiasm the secrets that you may not have known that existed.
And to be honest, one of the big things I found about working with my team, especially the Filipino sides of the house, is when they hit a roadblock, they'll tell me, like really quick, can't do that. So, well, what I think you need to do is that go step by come back that process approach, and once you show that process to them, it's dead easy. It is dead easy for them to figure out where they need to go next. And a lot of times, the thing I also love about the Filipino team that I've got is their ability to network that's the next level. So I would ring my VA and go, hey, do you know anybody that can do X? And she says, yes. It's not her cousin, but she does know, or she knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. So we have picked up some amazing people. And talking about the forensic stuff, we've got a big client coming up that will be looking at forensics. We've been able to secure some forensics people in the Philippines who can do the work for us really quickly too. So, and we are not talking about, dumb guys. We're talking about some really smart people who just click in well with their team. So, yeah, there's a range of, it's the approach that we have is to analyze the problem and try and find out what that end state for the user is. So one of the smallest examples I've got, and it would sound stupid to anyone, but it's actually really important. We had a client yesterday. The VA is taking the client through the system and saying, well, at this point, we now have to put your mobile phone into the system so you can send SMSs. The client's response was, I don't want to send people SMSs. I don't want to be paying through. I want to pay through the system, but I don't want to use my credit card. I want to pay through the system, but I be paid by the system, but I don't want to use a the old click online pay by credit card. I said everything by bank transfer. And my VA went, I can do that. And within 10 minutes, she'd set up the system. So that's exactly what the client got. Only sends emails. Everything gets paid straight into a bank account. No fees and charges. We did that. Took us 10 minutes to do it because we listened to what the customer had to say. And she is super happy about that. Super, super happy. Sending out posts, sending out emails to the client she needs to, getting the funnels working, coming in with client leads. But the one thing we didn't do is go, you can't do that. You've got to have a mobile phone because it doesn't work because everybody else uses that. But you can't have that approach. You've got to have that approach of, okay, what are you trying to achieve? And that's the biggest question we ask in the first place is, how do you want to work with your clients? How do you want the client's experience as it comes into my business? That's what we ask. And it's amazing how often we find, wow, we can do a really simple solution for you because we're not imposing our solution on you, if that makes sense. So there's another big difference between us and other businesses. We don't give you a cookie cutter. Yeah, sure, we can give you an example, but we'll build that particular process for you.
That's great. And because I'm eager to find this solution, we'll certainly talk about this because
we will talk about that because can I do you a deal? We will get it set up. We'll get it running. I can guarantee you that, Mitch, my team will come along, have a look. You give us access and we'll run that baby for you.
Well, yeah. And I'll be a hell of a case study to show.
Yeah.
Because I've got a big mouth. I've got a big mouth. And I can certainly be a good trumpet for helping you launch your business here, on a larger scale.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Thanks, Mitch.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that. Well, Michael, how can they get in touch with you so they can do this?
Hey, if you're looking for some information from us,
yes,
what you need to do is just drop us a line at 2 locations. You send an email to info@afca.edu.au, or just send me a text on 0481 749 476. Don't forget we're +61 here in Australia.
Are you Australian? Is that a real accent?
That's a real accent, mate.
Okay,
I'm
I
an
just
Australian.
wanted to make sure, mate. All right. Well, Michael,
Why do I put up with this?
oh, all right. Well, Michael, super. That has been a great information and solution, a solution to my problem. I did not know this. I'm excited. I'm going to be client number one with the American accent, and it's real. Just so you know, you've got a real Australian, I got a real American one. So we're
Yeah,
good.
yeah, no problems. Thanks for that, Mitch. Cheers.
All right, thanks.
Okay, welcome to Lessons in Deception, the podcast where fraud meets its match. I'm Michael Callan. I'm the founder of the Australian Fraud and Anti-Corruption Academy. After years of investigating scams and schemes, I've learned that fraudsters think they're clever, but they're usually predictable. Each episode we'll climb the fraud tree, expose the tricks and share the lessons you need to spot deceptions fast. So let's get started this morning with a really out of left field guest. And the guest I'm talking about is Mitch Carson, former pitchman on the Home Shopping Network, Amazon best-selling author, man of many talents, a good friend, and really a bit of a statesman in his field. Hi, Mitch. How are you? Welcome to the podcast.
Well, I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a great session, and I love the topic.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, why this is out of left field is for most people be thinking I'd be talking to criminal lawyers, I'd be talking to police officers, I'd be talking to, fraud investigators. But in actual fact, I need to talk to the people at the front line who were dealing in the space where things can go wrong. So where the money changes hands, where people are actually advertising things and talking about stuff. And you were right in that, weren't you, in the 90s and right here into the 2000s. You've been part of that not sales so much, but the marketing element of it. So can you give me some thoughts about, having been in the industry, what's it like on the ground? When you're going out there to pitch for someone or you're selling something, how did you personally know that the things that you were selling were, okay, legit?
You don't know until you find out.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, and that's true. There was an Australian company, and I'm going to leave him nameless, but you'll probably be able to fill in the gaps. I have worked as a pitchman for hire. Essentially, this means somebody's got a great product service system, and they're brilliant at creating it. They don't know how to wrap it. They don't know how to market it and sell it. That's where I've come in many cases. I either come in for a straight 10% if they've got the system. I'm just going to give the numbers, how it works, usually around a 10%. So, for example, if you've got a service and say, Mitch, I want to hire you because I know you know how to market and sell, and you've got all the deliverables for me, and I'm just the voice, and I've done this for several Australian companies also, several. I would come in, fix the PowerPoints, fix it, use my language, know how to then package it and deliver it with convincing, persuasive language so people are motivated to buy. However, I've rejected quite a few because if I didn't believe in the product or service, because if it's not ethical, it's not honorable, I'm going to walk. Let me give you an example. I was in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, a few years back. This is pre-COVID. And one of the attendees said, I love how you present and sell from the stage. I said, thank you, because this is my craft. This is what I do. He said, I've got a product or service. Have you heard about the money game? I said, no. It's something that is involved in Malaysia where you sell people. They essentially wanted me to sell a pyramid scheme. And I'm not,
So
it's a pyramid scheme of some type of a money thing to wealthy people in Malaysia who've also got something that is essential and is in most human beings around the world. It's called the greed gland. Once you rub it 3 times, a genie rub comes popping out. It's the greed gland.
It is true. That is actually true. That is very, very, very true comment. The greed gland. Once you rub it 3 times, absolutely true. So
Let me tell you what happened. If I could share
I
this
would love.
story.
That's what I was going to ask.
So I was
Far
in,
away.
well, actually, I'd spoken 2 days in, and so it was the drive over. My promoter in KL, we drove to Johor Bahru, which is about a 3.5 hour drive in a car. Okay. It's on the border of Singapore, which I then went on to after on my speaking tour. So I was there to do 2 events in Johor Bahru, and I met different people there who said, okay, we saw you. We've got to go back to KL to meet this person who's got this product that he wants sold. And now in the drive from Johor Bahru back to KL, I was presented what this was in vague terms. And this guy said, it's just so you know, it's a little bit illegal. Why? A little bit illegal. I said, tell me more before I say yes. And he said, well, all you have to do is sell yourself to the man who's got this system, and he's what is called a dato. A dato in Malaysia is someone that's given a title by some member of the royal family. They have kings throughout different areas. There are about 12 different kings in Malaysia, and it's a status label for somebody. It credentializes them in the public, like they're able to use that title. It's pay to play, really. And this dato is the person that you have to convince and tell and sell him on what you're doing. Now, something inside of me said, I don't want to sell him, because when they hinted at it might be illegal, it is illegal. It's not, if it's a might be, that is enough for me to destroy the deal. Now, I ruined a relationship because I didn't sell this guy. I went through it. I was in the man's car that drove me over there, and I come to find out that he was connected to something called triads, which is one of the largest gangs in the world. I had found out. I'm not saying names, so I'm not going to get stabbed in my sleep. And I met this particular dato in KL. Didn't ask for the order. Now, the people that took me there, the representatives, were pissed off at me because I didn't ask for the order. Well, you have to sell them. You didn't sell them. I said, I'm just mumbling under my breath, let me out of here. And it was fraudulent, where essentially you get people in a room, you promise them that they're going to make money by bringing other people in underneath them. And it's a pyramid scheme. You can make so much money. And they had all these fictitious people at the top of a pyramid who are apparently making all this money, and you get checks. I remember getting pitched on that in the 70s, and my stepfather was one of the people that got raided. I was out of the house working. I was 19 years old at the time, and my stepfather, who had invested in this pyramid scheme, got raided by the FBI, which is the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the United States, thrown on the floor. My mom was arrested. All of this falsely. They were innocent. They weren't part of the deal, but they were they ran a sting operation throughout. So I had firsthand knowledge of this as a boy, and seeing the terror and tragedy that took place from a fraudster in America. And then I saw this image again about, what was this, would have been about 7 years ago, in Malaysia. And I said, fraud might be illegal, and Mitch being in jail in Malaysia, no can do.
No, and that is a fantastic story. I do like the red flag. It's a little bit illegal.
It might be illegal. It might be
illegal. Okay, so that's a kind of red flag there. But you would have seen this so often. You would have had people come to you and your gut feeling, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it have been, I've got this really good product. There's a difference between, I've got this good product that does X, and you know it's not going to do it, and the guy's got no clue that it's never going to sell, right? It's a bit like the old Nintendo stuff that used to come out. Yeah, good idea. Commodore 64.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Good idea. It never survived. As opposed to, you would get that gut feeling. But surely you must have had like dozens of these guys. Not as obvious as that, where you've gone, there's something about you that just doesn't sniff right.
Well, and another one that I'll bring close to home to Australia, a man that sold share trading in Australia had apparently a listen to the wording, Michael, foolproof system guaranteeing results. Listen to the words, guaranteeing returns of X amount of percentage per month. And you'll know who he is. I'm not saying his name. I was in America in between. I would always augment my income after I sold my advertising business, and I was semi-retired, as I said, and then I would take certain assignments for a period of time till the product ran through. And I did this successfully with other software companies. I would sell. I would know enough just to pitch it for them because they're geeks. And and that's fine. It was a good relationship. And I worked with a Swiss company, all these until their product sunsetted, and it was a good relationship. I made my money, they made their money, and I added the fuel to the fire. This Australian company guaranteed these promotions with a foolproof system, and I was trained to handle the Americas. I was going to do this in the US for them. And I went through their 2-day training, how to do it, how to run the system and understand it. And I was waiting for stages that they were supposed to arrange for me. I would come in, make 10%. They cover my travel, cover my lodging, all of that, my food, and I just go in and pitch on these multi-speaker platforms. So it was a $5,000 sale. So each sale I'd make $500. And if a room had 500 people and I do 10%, you do the math, so I make my money. Yeah. So it's if I were to go city to city, it's a nice little income where I don't have any responsibility on the back end. Or do I? Or do I? Or do I? Because yes, or do I? Because that brings up the question, how much accountability do I have as their front person, being American selling an Australian product in America from an Australian? Fast forward, what happened? This individual cannot go back to Australia ever again. He fled. He lives in a foreign country. You'll be able to piece it together. Don't mention it.
Oh, yeah, I already know who it is, yeah.
Yes, and he lives outside of the U.S. now. Or I mean, not outside of Australia. And I think it's ASIC, or what's the name of the Australian?
ASIC.
ASIC,
the federal police. Yeah,
ASIC shut him down. I mean, we have the FTC in America. I think you have ASIC there. And we have different regulatory, Securities and Exchange Commission. You have the equivalents in Australia. And I'm not getting involved in a boxing match. They're big ass kangaroos with clubs and claws and, hell no. Hell no. And I fortunately dodged that bullet because he said, we're having a review from ASIC. And I looked it up and I realized I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
No, but again, it's that due diligence you've gone through to go, I got a red flag. I really need to check this. I really need to check what I'm selling. Is it to you, in your sense, is it, it doesn't matter if I'm legally accountable or it's my own moral.
Ethically responsible. How can I sell something that doesn't deliver what I'm saying is promised? For example, I have a podcast course that you're in.
Yeah, that's right.
You've been in.
Absolutely.
And I made promises. I must deliver. I want to deliver. I cannot look myself in the mirror and see who I am with my glasses on. If I take them off, I imagine handsome. With them on, I see who I am.
George Clooney.
Yeah, that's it. The reality is, or Brad the Pitt, whatever. I'm just Mitch Carson, and I must deliver on the promises. I have specific deliverables, and because it's my program, I know they'll be met. But if I'm pitching somebody else, and this is the quandary a pitchman goes through, do those products get delivered as promised? Do they meet the standards in which you claim are present with each product? When I was a pitchman selling products as a person on Home Shopping Network, I'm a contract person. I'm not an employee. I'm a contractor. I come in and sell with products of other people because they don't know how to sell. That's my specialty. Is the product ethical? Does it hurt people? Is it safe? All of these things had to be considered. Now, ultimately, most of the experiences I had were very positive. There were few exceptions. Most of the clients that I represented and sold were ethical, had good products. But there are such standards, I'm sure it exists in Australia. If they're childproof, what happens if a kid rubs this? Will he cut his finger? If it's a physical product. And there are a list of criteria you must check before you embrace and represent a product or service.
But see, and herein lies for us the fraudster would always say to you, I did my due diligence. I didn't know that was going on.
But it wasn't mine.
Yeah, it wasn't mine. See, that comes back to the accountability thing and self-justification as a fraudster. I had no doubts, or any doubts I had, I checked and it was fine. So what you're talking about is actually the fact is going, I'm going to do more than check. I'm going to look myself in the mirror and say, do I feel comfortable about this? Is this really matching my values? Okay. There's a difference between asked to sell something, you go, really? I would never use this in a pink fit. Never. But there's nothing wrong with it. And, one man's trash might be another man's treasure. So I'm going to sell a product that I know, A, it works, B, if no one's going to get harmed, C, it's ethical. It's not my cup of tea, but, here you go. As opposed to, I don't really give a big rat's ass what I'm selling as long as I'm getting my cut.
That's not responsible.
No, that's not responsible. So it's really interesting, but you would see that type of approach across your industry where there's a range of these people that the pitch man would pitch. There'd be people like yourself.
They don't care.
They don't care. Yeah, well, it's true. It's true.
They don't care. I mean, there have been speakers. Now, I've traveled the world, 63 countries I've spoken on stages in, all around the world. There are a handful of speakers. I can name 5 of them off the top of my head, and I'm sure there are more whom I haven't shared the stage with, who are unethical individuals, would sell their mother if it gave them a drink at the bar, who are just all about extracting money from the audience and without consequence. They just don't care. Now, they're terrific salespeople. I admire the mechanism that they access and their methodology to sell, but the product does not match the promise. And there are so many of those. Well, there are 5 that I can name off the top of my head, and they just don't care. They're only interested in the outcome of the cash. And I can't do that.
No. And I think that's where you choose a path that might not be as lucrative, I think is
correct.
That's where it becomes very important. And I see that a lot with I have seen some really super highly efficient and very, very profitable ethical businesses. But it's a hard road when you think about it for a business to do, because there are a lot of temptations to cut corners, ignore things, and allow yourself and go, well, it's not my product, I'm just selling it. It's really not my problem, it's yours. And the justification I loathe, which is they knew what they were paying for, when in actual fact they didn't. So this pitchman approach really is, for some would be a great way to rip people off, but others like yourself would be a great way to sell good products.
Well, it's to sell it ethically. There's enough money out there to not have to grab at every fruit that's available. There's enough fruit in the tree for you to eat well, feel sated, satisfied, and then to have to go and sell the rotten fruit for what? It's just not worth it. That's the convict mentality. It's the unethical mentality that exists with certain individuals. Why sell rotten fruit when there's so much that's ripe and ready and delicious?
Stage of your life where you've people to build their own business. Now you're really getting the message out there to the community that you've got something that's rich in experience that you'll want to share. And I think that just talking to you just exposes that fantastic point of view that you bring to your business, which is why personally I joined up with your course, because I recognize the integrity behind it. So fantastic talking to you today, Mitch. Really, really good. Thank you for bringing that insight into what I think is probably a big risk area for some people who are buying, not so much selling. You've got some great courses coming, and some great things that I think should be shared. How can people get in contact with you to learn that sort of ethical skill sets that you bring to pitchmen and selling, basically?
Well, two ways. One, you can find me on, and if you're interested in learning about how to build your personal brand, go to getinterviewedguaranteed.com, getinterviewedguaranteed.com, getinterviewedguaranteed.com. I just proved that I have some years of television and radio interviewing the call to action, or mentioning the call to action 3 times. That's where they can find me.
Okay. Hey, Mitch, thank you very much for today. Good luck, and I'm sure I'll catch up with you too in your apartment. What is it, the 64th floor overlooking John Peel Beach?
That was the 43rd floor. Yes.
43rd.
You did your interview. Yes.
Perfect. Damn good view, mate. Damn good view. Okay, thanks very much, Mitch. Have a good day.
Thanks for tuning in to the Amazing Authorities Podcast. If today's episode inspired you, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps more experts like you rise to the top. For behind-the-scenes access and free resources to boost your authority, head to mitchcarson.com. Until next time, stay amazing.